and Mark who joined us now live with their love story. This is our wedding song. Is it really?
Come on, babe. How we do it? How we do it 17 years ago? And then what do we do? Then we did this. We did a little something else, but we can't show that. On the dance floor, it was a whole routine. We forgot.
Can I just tell you, you two touch me because your relationship to me is just so genuine and so, it's fun. It's fun. I think anyone that knows you guys knows. You guys are a fun couple, and that for me is like relationship goals. It really is. How do you keep it fun 17 years later?
Well, you know what? And he's a funny person.
He is.
So, in those moments where it's like life, do you know what I mean? Because we've had some life stuff. And in those moments, like, Mark makes me laugh, and it's a genuine thing, and I think it's the number one thing.
Yeah. Well, with Allison in my card that I'm writing in the back, Allison is funny, but I'm talking about probably one of the funniest people I know, period. And I know a lot of funny people. So that's another factor, though. So it's not just me.
So I think it's humor.
You know?
But remember, like,
genuine life.
and I think it works because we're both in the same business.
Yeah.
And so, you know, we have the whole married media thing.
But not compared. I think two things. When we met, we were already doing our thing. And I think also we both weren't necessarily like the types that we had to be the top of the game.
Right.
We enjoy what we do. We love what we do.
Yeah.
But we also love each other.
Yeah.
And that trumps our
And I want to see him win, and he wants to see me.
And there's no competition. There's no whatever. People always say, oh, you're Allison Seymour's husband.
There's a little wedding picture.
You're Allison Seymour's husband. I'm sorry, I don't want to. That's fine. I love being Allison Seymour's husband.
Did you know when you saw her that she was the one, and did you know that he was the one?
I think he knew I was the one.
I knew.
No, not even saying that to blow up my.
No, because Allison was I dreamed of Allison when I was a child.
You're kidding.
I didn't date a whole bunch of people. So people always say, how did you know she was the one? She was the one because she was the one.
This is our engagement picture,
You
Mo.
are, okay, seriously, you guys are
Yes,
amazing.
Zeke and Shelby, they were our only children back then. We
That's
met
so cute.
on my first day on the job in St. Louis. And before I went out to St. Louis, I'm an East Coast girl. Somebody said, you're going out there to find your husband. And I'm like, okay.
Yeah.
And I'm on the first day, August 5th, 1998, I met Mark. And he approached me. We were both covering the same story, a music festival. And I was like, okay, who's this? Big smile, big bald head. And this was like not really this wasn't typically the person that I was dating, you know what I mean? And so, but his personality just smacked me in the face, right?
Well, one thing I want to talk about is you two are in a long distance marriage now because you're working in New York, you're here. A lot of folks saying, how can you make it work? I had someone tell me years ago, anything over 30 miles doesn't count.
Right.
And I've kind of like, oh, funny. Okay.
Look at situation.
Well,
How do you
we
make
had
it work?
15 years in the game before it happened.
Okay.
And so, I'm going to sound like a boss just now, didn't I?
Yeah.
Oh, we had 15 years in the game.
We do.
Okay.
We put skin in the game. I knew how she moved. She knew how I
You guys
moved.
are so cute together. Look at this
Wait,
picture.
this was in Jamaica, remember
Love
that?
Yes, when
Yeah, that
Allison
was a
almost got
whole
snatched away
situation.
by a 23-year-old.
Anyway.
I went to get a
It
drink,
was
and next thing
well,
I knew,
look,
Dallas was
Maureen,
next
it
to
was
her.
that hedonism.
Oh.
So Mark was there on a gig, I was there fully clothed. So just let me just say that after 15 years, what people don't, they might look at us and say, oh, you guys have how can you relate to what I'm going through? You don't mind?
Oh, no, of
Okay,
course.
so Mark was on the air in Baltimore, 92Q, for 10 years. And I remember I was driving home when he called me and he said, babe, I got let go today.
Don't start crying, you make me cry. Lord
And
Jesus.
I just remember it was like time stopped for a second, and then I'm like, okay, what are we going to do? What are we going to do? So, okay, this happened. So what now? So it turns out you were without a full-time job.
Yes, let's put it in real perspective. We'll keep it real. $300,000 in 2008. That was my salary. $25,000 was my salary in 2009.
Wow.
And for 6 years, I did not return to a full-time job.
For 6
And
years,
Allison held it down that whole time.
well, and it's,
And never made me feel okay.
You two are making me cry.
this is ridiculous.
She never made me feel less than. She never made me feel like I wasn't pulling my weight.
You're seriously making me cry.
Right, because Mark is an excellent father. And so what happened was we sort of switched a little bit, and Mark became, when the girls got home from school or when they went, he was the one who was there, and so we were doing things a little bit differently. So when this opportunity came up, a full-time job in what he is so excellent at doing, which is radio, okay? And if you're listening radio in Washington, D.C., you are missing out on a talent right here. You're missing out on a talent. So I won't get into that. But, so when it came up and my husband could work in a field that he has worked in for over 20 years, babe, you've got to go. We'll be okay. You were at home holding it down for all those years. Let me hold it down. Wow. So it's been, it'll be 2 years this summer. Right?
3 years, I think.
Yeah. Well, it's 3. I mean, and you know, the girls are growing up now, and
the
so
girls, you know, raising them, and I think the one thing I'm hearing is you're such a strong family unit to begin with that's helped make this transition easier for everybody.
I don't know. I mean, I'm not sure that it would work as well if we weren't in it together. This is Sydney's Sweet 16.
Just a couple months ago.
Yeah, just a couple of months ago. So it's wonderful. I used to look at couples who were married for all these years and think, wow, you know what I mean? And so it's strange to think we're not at 20 years yet, but we've known each other for a long time, and it's 17 years this year.
So for someone like me, single and hoping to one day share in the wedding bliss that you all have, what advice would you give?
You gotta
someone like me, looking, wanting to be.
Do not change one thing about your beautiful self.
Right.
Do not change one thing about your beautiful self, your essence, what you expect, what you know, who you are, what you do for a living, and let that strong man come and find you. And you know, and you just be willing and open to accept it. And it might not look like I never dated this. You know what I'm saying?
She never even a bald headed man.
I never dated.
5'10", 148 pounds.
No, see, but it is out of my.
Give her my arm.
It is out of my typical what I would be like. Okay, but just open yourself up to love.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean?
Like Allison said, be available for chunky love. What's the term?
Is that what you really said?
No, I said to the girls, I said sometimes the chunky touch.
The chunky
It's
touch.
Then look, don't be, oh, I gotta have somebody with six-pack, whatever, because you never know what you need. You never know what you
You might need the chunky touch.
This right here, relationship goals, Marc, Allison Seymour, kicking up our week of love. You guys are an example for so many others. You know what? Continued success to you. I don't even have to say that. You guys just succeed that. So thank you.
And surround yourself with positive people who love you, like Maureen, because we love her. And
these are my peeps, for real, for real.
Okay,
they're wrapping us. I know we're all crying over here. Okay. Steve, back over to you. I'm going to take some more notes here because I'm going to find my guy. I'm going to be sitting here next year talking about it. Thank you.
That was good.
It's true.
That was the first good one. They all gonna be good. That's what they love story.
Coming.
Maureen,
we're gonna be.
you're a queen. He's gonna be a king. No time for jokers. That's right.
People here say God's ears because let me tell you.
I think I feel. I mean, and
Okay, seriously, I can't take a week of this. My girl, me either, girl. I mean, when he started, I was like, Allison, people were like, she held him.
what a great segment.
That's what somebody said.
What did it say?
What a great segment.
I know.
Right.
Well, this is what I envisioned.
You're the one you got.
It worked out perfectly. This is what I envisioned.
I didn't expect you.
I was trying to get me on. Every time I'm on TV, baby, make me cry.
I'm over here. She's over there.
See, look, she's crying too. You crying?
She's crying. Everyone's crying. So I have a question for you. Okay, so you.
I'm sorry, go ahead.
No, it's okay. So you held it down for quite a long time. And for women that are in your same position, what advice do you have for them if they become frustrated? If they're like, okay, my man needs to land a job, but he hasn't just yet. And like Mark said, he was unemployed for six years, right? What advice do you have? For the
I mean, I feel like if you want it,
yes,
then you have to sometimes fight for it. Like, it just is what it is. You know, we take the vows, whatever, for better or for worse. If it's real, then you fight for it. And you know, like, there was never a moment when Mark was like, oh, I'm good. You know, I'm fine. I'm okay making this,
He got
whatever.
comfortable.
Right. It's never a moment he got comfortable. And so if you know the integrity of your man or your woman or whatever it is, then you know in your heart, this is, you know, maybe you downsize. both sides.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Make it work because it won't last forever. It shouldn't last forever.
And the person who's going through it, they have to be real too. Like when you are in that position, like Babe said, you can't give up. You can't be mopey. You know what I'm saying? You kind of have to bring.
You can't be mopey, and you can't be resentful.
You can't be, and it's a time where you do get to know yourself, and you get to know your partner, and even be understanding of the frustration, and to be honest, fear. It's fear. A lot of times, especially it's on fear on both sides. Like, because I think at the end of the day, for men, especially, we're tied to our jobs, especially if you had a degree of success. It's like, who am I? You have to, and I think that's what guys go through. I was Mr. This, but who am I now without a job? And again, that's why I credit my wife, and I think that's what wives do. She loved me for me. She didn't love me because I was a DJ or I was on the radio or because I was successful.
You gotta have your own
She knew
stuff.
who I was. And I think that's the hardest thing that people struggle with is that piece, knowing who you are.
Okay. And since Allison is loved by many here